The title of this talk is, What Are You Being Guided to Create? Those soldiers that we just watched in World War I created a moment of heaven on earth. They were guided by the knowing of oneness, regardless of nationality. So on that Christmas in 1914, they were able to celebrate the real meaning of the birth of the Christ. If soldiers in the middle of wartime could create anew for that one singular moment, what could you create if you got clarity about the truth of who and what you are? As we continue our Advent celebration, we find new ways to listen to spiritual guidance. This is the third week of Advent, and it's dedicated to the essence of creation within you. Often, we go about our lives in a hurry to get it all done. At times, we are abrupt and hurried as we check those things off the list. And you know, this time of year, we've got lots of tasks to check off the list. We may even feel anxious or stressed by any demands that are made upon us. And when someone wants a little of our time and attention, maybe some compassion, we may even get annoyed at the impact that this will have on getting our tasks complete. We get so caught up in these tasks that we confuse them for the goals in our creation plans. Maria Nemeth, in her book, The Energy of Money, which we are studying right now, says that we have often gotten so busy accomplishing tasks that have nothing to do with the life we really want. She also writes that we get confused thinking that our tasks are our goals. And then you may be thinking, well, how do I tell the difference? And she says this: when you finish a task, you feel relief. It's like that, whew, got her done. But when you complete a goal, you feel joy. Nemeth also reminds us that to live a meaningful life, we must create goals anchored to our life intentions, which provide conduits for energy that bring these goals into physical reality. Our life intentions are simply the truth of who we are. It is the heart of you, what you're passionate about, what really matters to you, and what makes you whole and complete. It is so easy to forget our true nature, to get caught up in societal roles and live our lives by conforming to other people's expectations of us. In Unity, we often say, love is all there is, and nothing else matters. But do we live our lives as if that is our truth? Well, when preparing for this talk, I found a story about those who have chosen to live as if love is their truth. The story is called Because of Love, and it's written by Willie Eagle. And I'm told this is a true story, but you decide. Let's begin. A brother and sister had made their usual hurried and obligatory pre-Christmas visit to the little farm where dwelt their elderly parents with a small herd of horses. The farm was where they grew up and had been named Lone Pine Farm because of the huge pine which topped the hill behind the farm. The young siblings had fond memories of their childhood here, but the city hustle and bustle added more excitement to their lives and called them away to a different life. The old folks no longer showed their horses, for the years had taken their toll, and getting out to the barn on those really frosty mornings was getting harder. But it gave them a reason to get up in the morning and a reason to live. Now the siblings, angry as they prepared to leave, they confronted the old folks. "Why are you not at least disposing of the old one? She is no longer of use to you. It's been years since you've had foals from her. You should cut your corners and save so you can have more for yourselves. How can this worn-out old horse give you anything but expense and work? Why do you keep her anyway?" The old man looked down at his worn boots, holes in the toes. He scuffed the barn floor and replied, "Yes, I could really use a new pair of boots." His arm slid around defensively about the old one's neck. As he drew near with gentle caressing, he rubbed her softly behind her ears, and he replied, "We keep her because of love, nothing else, just love." Baffled and irritated, the young folks washed their hands of their parents and said, "Merry Christmas, we're going to head back toward the city." And they did that as darkness stole through the valley. So it was, because of this unhappy leaving, no one noticed the insulation smoldering on the frayed wires in the old barn. None saw the first spark fall. In a matter of minutes, the whole barn was ablaze and the hungry flames were licking at the loft full of hay. With a cry of horror and despair, the old man shouted to his wife to call for help as he raced to the barn to save his beloved horses. But the flames were roaring now, and the blazing heat drove him back. He sank sobbing to the ground, helpless before the fire's fury. His wife, back from calling for help, cradled him in her arms, clinging to each other. They wept at their loss. By the time the fire department arrived, only smoking, glowing ruins were left, and the old man and his wife, exhausted from their grief, huddled together before the barn. They were speechless as they rose from the cold, snow-covered ground. They nodded their thanks to the firemen, as there was nothing anyone could do for now. The old man turned to his wife, resting her head upon his shoulders as his shaking old hands clumsily dried her tears with a frayed red bandana. Brokenly he whispered, "We have lost much, but God has spared our home on this eve of Christmas. Let us gather strength and climb the hill to the old pine where we have sought comfort in times of despair. We will look down upon our home and give thanks to God that it has been spared, and pray for our beloved, most precious gifts that have been taken from us." Well, the journey up the hill was hard for their old bodies in that steep snow. As they stepped over the little knoll at the crest of the hill, they paused to rest. Looking up to the top of the hill, the old couple gasped and fell to their knees in amazement at the incredible beauty before them. Seemingly every glorious, brilliant star in the heavens was caught up in the glittering, snow-frosted branches of their beloved pine tree. And it was aglow with heavenly candles. Suddenly the old man gave another cry of wonder and incredible joy. Amazed and mystified, he took his wife by the hand and pulled her forward. And there he looked beneath the tree, in resplendent glory, a mist hovering over and glowing in the darkness was their Christmas gift. Shadows glistening in the night light bedded down about the old one. Close to the trunk of the tree was the entire herd of horses, safe. You see, at the first hint of smoke, the old one, she had pushed the door ajar with her muzzle and had led the horses through it. Slowly and with great dignity, never looking back, she had led them up the hill, stepping cautiously through the snow. Well, the foals were frightened, and they dashed about. The skittish yearlings looked back at the crackling, hungry flames and tucked their tails under them as they licked their lips and hopped like rabbits. The mares that were in foal with New Year's crop of babies pressed uneasily against the old one as she moved calmly up the hill to the safety of that beautiful pine tree. And now she lay among them and gazed at the faces of the old man and his wife. Those she loved she had not disappointed. Her body was brittle with years, tired from the climb, but the golden eyes were filled with devotion as she offered her gift. Because of love. Only because of love. Tears flowed as the old couple shouted their praise and joy, and again the peace of love filled their hearts. Isn't that a beautiful story of just the essence of love out picturing, whether you're human or an animal, any sentient being has the capacity to love. So why did I tell you this story? Because today I'm inviting you to find new ways to listen to your spiritual guides as they remind you of your truth and how to create anew. You see, guides come in many ways. It could be as simple as a horse's neighing. It could be a stranger, a beautiful story, a book, a conversation, a walk in nature, writing, meditating, or even through a virtual Sunday service. In the book, The Energy of Money, there are lots of tools and exercises to help you figure out ways to manifest the life you really want. Part of that is giving yourself the time and the space to sit, to read, to write about your goals and the goals that are your life intentions, while making space for spirit to support you. So I hope that you will join us as we continue studying this book, The Energy of Money. We're doing it on Wednesdays at 5:30, but we're going to take the next 2 weeks off because we know how busy it can be around the holiday season. So we'll meet back again on December 30th at 5:30 on Zoom. So join us. Blessings. Find your Advent candle, please, and light that candle as we breathe into this week's affirmation. I receive and embrace the spiritual guidance I am given, which shows me how to create love and abundance in my life. Let's prepare for meditation.